So I was going to just sit here and do some French knots today and thought I would turn on the camera and maybe chat for a little bit. Let's see. This is a mini wildscape that I'm working on, and I did them for a couple reasons. One, so I could experiment with a few ideas on structure. This one's going to be mounted a little bit differently. You'll have to wait to see it. Sorry. And I wanted to see if I could put the big things in first. You know, there's that thing about productivity. If you put the big rocks in your day first, then the rest of the stuff falls into place. And sometimes that works for me. Like if I'm doing a whole lot of things with rocks, I will go ahead and probably add those to a piece early on. But I'm also finding some of the stuff difficult to stitch around. But it also could be because I'm working smaller than normal. I don't know. I'm in kind of finish mode. I confess, I had really hoped that I would have finished the Wildscapes in Progress by the end of the year, and that didn't happen, and I'm not going to beat myself up over it. That's just life. So instead, I'm just going to work on them until they're done. I'm trying not to start anything new as far as a Wildscape goes because I have some other pieces I want to finish. And, you know, in my head, I'm thinking, well, it'd be really nice if I got them done by the end of February because then I could take them down to be photographed. I've decided that it stresses me out to do photos for something other than social media, and I want to enter some calls for art in the coming months. And so I'm going to go ahead and pay a professional photographer to do the photographs for me because I think they'll be able to do a much better job. Years ago, I would do more things with photography, but I sold all my cameras and I am just now working with my cell phone, and I'm fine with that. You know, there comes a time where you have to decide you can't do it all, and I have to decide where I want to spend my time and my energy. And lately, it's not on fighting with settings and lighting and all that good stuff and angles for photography. Why not take it down to somebody's studio and let them do it for me? Somebody asked me recently if I was getting bored doing wildscapes. And I thought, you know, I can't imagine it because it's like working in my garden, although I don't do a lot of gardening anymore, partially because we don't need it. What we need is weeding, and I am thinking about maybe looking to hire somebody to do that. But the plants are pretty much established. They're native plants. We don't irrigate. The only thing we irrigate is our little line of lemon trees, and they actually get they don't get regular irrigation. They get gray water. And so I'm not thinking about, going out and gardening. However, wildscapes are a lot like my gardening. Each one is a little bit different. Each one gets planted with different plants. Some drizzle stitches here and here, some little puffballs, some grasses. Each one gets tended differently, usually with mounds of French knots. In our property, we have, such a wide variety of things. We have clumps of things. So I don't know, I guess maybe the wildscapes are my way of turning back to gardening in a way that doesn't hurt my body physically the way going outside and gardening does. There are a lot of things I wished I could have done in this property while my body was still able to handle it, but I've pretty much accepted that, times have changed, and, like I said, hopefully I can hire somebody to come in and do some of the stuff that we need. Mostly it's stuff like there's a big old stand of wild blackberry, that I'd like to get removed before the trees fill in because we cut back a whole bunch of privets. So that kind of stuff, if I could get somebody to come in and take care of that for us. We try to keep up with the thistles and Velcro weeds so that the dog doesn't get covered in them. But otherwise, we just kind of let nature take its course, and that's why the foxes and birds and possums and the skunks seem to be happy here. So this is how I'm going to spend my day. I usually turn on the piano guys because I like to have music that has no lyrics going while I'm stitching. That way my mind can wander and think about other things. I'm kind of excited today because I have a piece that You might have seen some recent posts in my on my community page or over on Instagram. I got a piece that I just finished, and I had been playing with ideas on how to frame it, and I'm just real excited that the whole thing came together the way I wanted it to. So again, you'll see that a little bit later on. I do have to start the naming process though, and that's so frustrating. Oh, because somebody always asks me what I am stitching with is merino wool. It's probably a superwash, but maybe not. Can't remember. And it is the fingering weight, and I just really love stitching with wool because it gives a wonderful kind of fuzzy texture. I like the shine of floss and pearl cotton, but not always, maybe like as an accent. So this is my little wildscape. It's not going to be much bigger than this, it's going to be a little circle, and we'll just see where it takes me.